The endless quiet of space was broken by a signal that no one on Earth expected to receive. It was a normal Tuesday morning at the International Space Station when Captain James Walker was checking the routine communication systems. The large screens in front of him showed the usual data streams from Earth, but then something unusual appeared. At first, he thought it was just random space noise, but the pattern was too regular, too structured to be anything natural. The signal was coming from somewhere near Neptune's orbit, far beyond where any human spacecraft had ever traveled. "Control, are you seeing this?" Walker spoke into his microphone, his eyes fixed on the strange patterns dancing across his screen. The reply from Earth was quick and confused. They were seeing it too, but nobody knew what it was. For 3 hours, the best minds at space agencies around the world studied the signal. It wasn't until Dr. Lisa Brown, a communication expert in Houston, noticed something remarkable. The signal was using mathematical sequences as a base language. It was an alien distress call. The news spread quickly through the station. Walker and his crew gathered around the main communication console, their faces lit by the blue glow of the screens. That's when the signal changed, becoming clearer, more focused. The aliens had detected Earth's attempts to understand their message and were now trying to communicate directly. "This is unexpected," said one of the alien voices, speaking in broken English. They had analyzed Earth's radio and TV broadcasts to learn the language. "Your species was marked as pre-spaceflight in our records. Yet you can detect our quantum communications." Walker looked at his crew, took a deep breath, and replied, "We've been in space for quite a while now. Maybe your records need updating." He tried to keep his voice steady, professional, even though his heart was racing with excitement. The alien voice became urgent. "We are in trouble, big trouble." The simple English words carried a weight that everyone in the station could feel. "Our ships, many ships, all broken. Many people inside, children inside, power failing." As the aliens explained their situation, the gravity of it became clear. They were refugees, millions of them, fleeing from some kind of disaster in their home system. Their fleet of massive ships had been traveling through space when they hit what they called a dark energy storm. Their advanced quantum engines were damaged, leaving them stranded in the outer reaches of Earth's solar system. "How long?" Walker asked, dreading the answer. 3 Earth months before life support fails," came the reply. "Our engineers cannot fix. Technology too damaged. Radiation too strange." Walker straightened in his chair. Humanity might be new to space travel, but if there was one thing they knew how to do, it was survive against impossible odds. "Send us everything you can about the damage. We'll help." There was a long pause from the alien side. When they spoke again, there was confusion in their voice. "You are less advanced. How can you help?" A small smile crossed Walker's face as he remembered all the times humans had faced disaster in space and found a way through. Sometimes fresh eyes see solutions others miss, and we humans are pretty good at fixing things, even if we have to use duct tape and paper clips. The aliens didn't understand the reference, but they could hear the confidence in his voice. As Walker started organizing the first of many information exchanges between the stranded fleet and Earth, he realized that humanity was about to face its biggest challenge yet. But unlike the aliens, he wasn't afraid. After all, humans had been practicing for this moment since they first looked up at the stars. They just hadn't known it. From the station's window, Walker could see Earth spinning below, beautiful and blue. Somewhere down there were engineers, scientists, and problem solvers who would soon be working on the biggest rescue mission in human history. And somehow, he knew they would find a way. They always did. News of the stranded alien fleet spread across Earth like wildfire. Within 48 hours, the world's best engineers and scientists gathered at NASA's main control center in Houston. The large meeting room was packed with people from different countries, all focused on the massive screens showing the first clear images of the alien ships. Dr. Mark Peters, NASA's chief engineer, stood at the front of the room, pointing at the largest alien vessel. They call themselves the Celestials, he explained, using the simple name humans had given them. Their main ship alone is bigger than 100 football fields. The room filled with whispers of amazement. The images showed 12 massive ships, each one dark and silent in space. They looked like giant silver leaves floating near Neptune, their usual bright green engine lights now completely dark. Around them, smaller ships moved slowly, trying to save power. They have 3 problems, Dr. Peters continued, drawing everyone's attention back. First, their quantum engines are dead. Second, their backup power systems are failing. Third, they have 5 million people on those ships, including 1 million children. He paused, letting that sink in. We have 3 months to save them all. Tom Miller, a mechanic who had once saved a damaged space shuttle with a makeshift repair, raised his hand. Have they sent us their engine designs? He asked, already thinking about possible fixes. Yes, but there's a catch, Dr. Peters replied. He pressed a button, and complex diagrams appeared on the screens. Their technology is so advanced, it's like showing a Stone Age human a smartphone. Their engineers say the quantum radiation makes repairs impossible. In the back of the room, Anna Wilson, a young engineer known for thinking differently, spoke up. Maybe we're looking at this wrong, she said. Everyone turned to look at her. We keep thinking about fixing their advanced engines, but what if we use our own technology instead? The room got quiet. Dr. Peters leaned forward, interested. Go on. Anna walked to the front, her confidence growing. The Celestials are used to perfect solutions with perfect technology. But we humans, we're good at making things work with whatever we have. Remember the Apollo 13 mission? They saved the crew with duct tape and spare parts. Images of the famous mission appeared on the screen. The Celestials' ships are damaged, but their basic structure is sound. Maybe we can't fix their quantum engines, but we know how to build rockets. Simple, reliable rockets. Dr. Peters nodded slowly, starting to understand. You're suggesting we use our primitive technology to save them. Exactly, Anna smiled. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. We can't match their technology level, but we don't need to. We just need to get their ships moving. The room burst into excited discussion. Engineers started sharing ideas, drawing quick sketches, and making calculations. Even the doubters had to admit it was possible. Different, yes. Unusual, definitely. But possible. In orbit, Captain Walker was having a similar conversation with the Celestial Fleet Commander. The alien's voice carried disbelief. You want to push our ships, with chemical rockets, like your first space missions. Sometimes going backwards is the way forward, Walker replied calmly. Our rockets aren't pretty or elegant like your quantum drives, but they work. They're simple, and we know how to fix them when they break. There was a long pause before the Celestial Commander spoke again. Our engineers, they say this is impossible. Too simple. Too primitive. Walker smiled. Impossible is what humans do best. We've been doing impossible things in space since we first left Earth. Trust us on this. As the meeting in Houston continued and plans started taking shape, one thing became clear. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't in having the most advanced technology. It was in knowing how to make things work, no matter what. The Celestials were about to learn that sometimes the simplest solutions came from the most unexpected places. The first meeting between human and Celestial engineers took place on the largest refugee ship. Anna Wilson stood in the massive alien engine room, surrounded by technology that looked more like art than machinery. Next to her, Tom Miller whistled softly as he looked at the damaged quantum drive, a beautiful crystal structure larger than a house, now dark and lifeless. The Celestial chief engineer, who the humans called Blue because of his silvery blue skin, watched them with all 4 of his eyes. Your species has never seen quantum technology before, he said, his translated voice showing doubt. "How can you help?" Instead of answering directly, Anna pulled out something that made the aliens stare in confusion. A simple notebook and pencil. "Sometimes the old ways work best," she said, starting to sketch. "Tell me exactly what happened when the drive failed." For the next hour, Blue explained while Anna drew diagrams and took notes. Tom walked around the drive, taking pictures with a basic digital camera. The other human engineers scattered throughout the engine room, looking at everything with fresh eyes. "Wait," Tom said suddenly, pointing at a series of pipes near the drive. "These carry cooling fluid, right?" Blue nodded. "And they're still intact." Another nod. Tom grinned at Anna. "We might not need to fix the quantum drive at all. We just need to use what still works." Anna's eyes lit up as she understood. She quickly drew a new diagram, showing how they could use the existing cooling systems to help control their planned rocket engines. "See," she showed Blue. "We can't fix your quantum drive, but we can use your ship's other systems to help our solution work better." Blue looked at the simple drawing, then at his own complex digital displays. "But this is so basic, so simple." "Simple isn't bad," Tom said, patting the alien pipe system. "Simple means fewer things can go wrong. And when things do go wrong, simple is easier to fix." As they talked, more human engineers arrived with basic tools: wrenches, measuring tapes, and even some duct tape. The celestial engineers watched in amazement as the humans crawled through maintenance tunnels, measured spaces by hand, and drew more rough sketches. "Your tools are so primitive," one young celestial engineer said, watching Tom use a basic wrench. Tom laughed. "Maybe, but I've never met a bolt this wrench couldn't turn, or a pipe it couldn't fix. Sometimes primitive is reliable." The real breakthrough came when Anna noticed something about the ship's backup power systems. "Look here," she said, pointing to where the emergency power lines ran through the hull. "We can tap into these. Use your own power grid to help control our rockets." Blue's doubt began to fade as he saw how the humans worked. They didn't try to understand every complex detail of the quantum technology. Instead, they looked for ways to work around it, using what was still working to help what they planned to add. "You think differently than us," Blue admitted, watching Anna sketch another diagram. "We always look for the perfect solution. You look for what works. Perfect solutions take time." Anna replied, still drawing. "And time is something we don't have. Sometimes good enough is better than perfect." As the day went on, more human engineers arrived, each bringing their own ideas. They worked in small teams, solving problems one at a time. When they found something too complex, they looked for a simpler way around it. The Celestials began to understand that humanity's strength wasn't in their technology, but in their way of thinking. Where the aliens saw only the impossible task of fixing advanced technology, humans saw dozens of possible solutions using whatever tools they had. By the end of the day, Anna's simple notebook was full of drawings and plans. They weren't beautiful or elegant like celestial technology, but they would work. As she looked at the quantum drive one last time before leaving, she smiled. Sometimes the best solutions didn't come from having the most advanced technology, but from having the right way of thinking about problems. The first test of the human solution came sooner than anyone expected. One of the smaller celestial ships reported its life support systems were failing faster than the others. They had less than 2 weeks of air left. "We'll test our rockets on this ship first," Anna announced in the emergency meeting. The room was tense as both humans and celestials gathered around a large table covered in paper drawings and digital displays. "It's smaller, easier to move. If something goes wrong, we can fix it quickly." Tom Miller stood next to a huge rocket engine they had modified. It looked strange, with both human and alien parts mixed together. The Celestials in the room stared at it with doubt in their 4 eyes. "This doesn't look safe," Blue said, touching the rocket with one of his long fingers. "Our ships were never meant to be pushed by explosion-based engines." "Sometimes the best solutions don't look pretty," Tom replied. patting the rocket. "But trust me, this will work. We've been using these rockets for over 100 years. We know every way they can fail and every way to fix them." The next 3 days were a rush of activity. Human space shuttles brought more rockets and equipment to the stranded fleet. Workers in spacesuits crawled over the outside of the small celestial ship, attaching the modified rockets at carefully chosen points. Inside the ship, Anna worked with Blue to connect their simple rocket controls to the ship's complex systems. They used a mixture of Earth computers and alien technology, creating something entirely new. "Look at this," Anna said, showing Blue how they had solved a power problem. "We're using your backup systems to control our rockets. It's not elegant, but it works better than either system alone." Blue studied the connection. "This is interesting," he admitted. "We would never think to combine technologies this way. It goes against everything we believe about proper engineering." "That's probably why it works," Anna smiled. "Sometimes you need to break the rules to solve impossible problems." The day of the test arrived. The small celestial ship hung in space, surrounded by the new rockets. In a control room on the main refugee ship, humans and aliens watched their screens nervously. "All rockets in position," Tom reported. "Power systems connected. We're ready." Captain Walker, who had come from the space station to watch, looked at the celestial ship captain. "It's your ship. Give the order when ready." The alien captain hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Begin the test." At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the rockets came to life. Not with the silent power of quantum drives, but with bright flames and visible force. The small ship shuddered slightly. "Hull stress within safe limits," Blue reported, watching his displays. "Power flow stable. Increasing power to 50%, Tom announced. The rockets burned brighter. Everyone watched in amazement as the ship began to move. Not with the elegant silence of quantum drives, but with the raw, visible power of human engineering. It wasn't pretty, but it was working. "Speed is building exactly as calculated," Anna said, grinning at her screens. "The rocket guidance systems are working perfectly with your navigation computers." The Celestials in the room watched in disbelief as their ship, powered by what they had considered primitive technology, moved smoothly through space. It wasn't as fast as their quantum drives, but it was working. "I don't believe it," Blue whispered. "You actually did it. With simple rockets and basic controls, you did what we thought was impossible." Anna looked at the screens showing the moving ship. "This is just the beginning," she said. "Now we know it works. We can start on the bigger ships. We'll need more rockets, bigger ones, but the principle is the same." As the test continued successfully, word spread through the refugee fleet. Humans had found a way to save them, not with advanced technology, but with simple, reliable engineering and creative thinking. The impossible rescue was starting to look possible after all. After the successful test, Earth sprang into action like never before. Factories that once made cars now built rocket parts. Space agencies from different countries worked together, sharing their best rocket designs and engineers. Captain Walker stood in a new control center built specially for the rescue mission, watching screens that showed activity all around Earth. In Russia, huge rockets were being loaded onto special planes. In China, factories worked day and night. In America, SpaceX and NASA worked side by side, building more rockets than ever before. "We need 15,000 rockets," Anna explained to Blue, who watched the Earth broadcasts in amazement. "And we're building them faster than anyone thought possible." The alien engineer's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. "How can you build so many so quickly?" "Because everyone's helping," Anna smiled, showing him more footage. "Look, car factories, airplane manufacturers, even small machine shops. They're all making parts. When humans work together, we can do amazing things." But time was still their enemy. 2 weeks had passed since the first test, and the main refugee ships were starting to show serious problems. Warning lights flashed more often, and power levels kept dropping. Life support failing in sections 12 through 15. A celestial officer reported, "We've moved 1,000 people to other areas, but we're running out of space." Tom Miller, who had been working non-stop on rocket installations, looked up from his work. "We can't wait any longer. We need to start moving the big ships now." "But we only have half the rockets we need," someone protested. "Then we'll move them one at a time," Tom said firmly. "We've got enough rockets right now to move the ship with the worst problems. The others can wait for the next batch." The plan was risky, but they had no choice. Workers in spacesuits swarmed over the largest refugee ship, installing rockets as fast as they arrived from Earth. Inside, Anna and Blue worked to connect each new rocket to the ship's systems. "Your people are taking dangerous risks," Blue said, watching humans working outside in space. "The radiation levels here are higher than what you're used to." "We know," Anna replied, not looking up from her work. "But there are children on these ships. We're not going to let them down." The work continued day and night. When workers got too tired, fresh teams arrived from Earth. When tools broke, they made new ones. When problems came up, they found solutions. Even the Celestials started to help in new ways. They learned to use simple human tools, working alongside the space crews. Some even started suggesting ways to make the rockets work better with their ship systems. "I never thought I'd see a Celestial using a wrench," Tom joked, watching Blue help tighten a rocket mounting. "And I never thought I'd enjoy using such simple tools," Blue replied. "There's something satisfying about doing work with your own hands." Finally, after 3 days of non-stop work, the first large ship was ready. Hundreds of rockets were attached to its hull, connected to its systems, and ready to fire. Captain Walker stood at the main control panel, surrounded by both human and celestial crew members. "All stations, report status." "Rockets ready," Tom's voice came through. "Power systems linked," Anna added. "Hull stress monitors active," Blue reported. Walker looked at the celestial ship captain, just as he had during the first test. "Your ship, your call." The alien captain stood straighter. "Start the engines." One by one, the rockets came to life. The huge ship, bigger than any human had ever tried to move, shuddered slightly. Everyone held their breath, watching the stress readings. Then, slowly but surely, the massive vessel began to move. Cheers erupted in control rooms across the fleet and back on Earth. The impossible rescue wasn't just possible anymore, it was actually happening. As the giant ship picked up speed, Anna looked at Blue. "One down," she said with a tired smile. 5 more to go." Blue nodded, his doubt now replaced with determination. "Then we better get back to work. We have more rockets to install." Moving the first big ship had been hard. Moving the rest of the fleet would be even harder. As the rescue mission entered its 6th week, a new problem appeared, something no one had expected. "The rockets are affecting the ship's old quantum systems," Anna announced during the morning briefing. She pointed to readings on her screen showing strange energy patterns. "The leftover quantum radiation is reacting to our rocket exhaust in weird ways." Blue studied the data, all 4 eyes widening. This could be very dangerous. If the radiation levels keep rising, they could damage the ship's hulls. In the crowded meeting room, humans and Celestials looked at each other with worry. They had already moved 3 of the big ships, but 3 more remained. And now this new problem threatened everything. Tom Miller stood up from his chair. "Show me where the radiation is worst," he said, pulling out his notebook. Anna pointed to several spots on the ship diagrams where red warning indicators flashed. "Look at this pattern," Tom said suddenly. "The radiation is strongest where the rocket exhaust hits old quantum drive parts." He turned to Blue. "Can we remove those old drive pieces?" "Remove them?" Blue looked shocked. "Those are the most advanced parts of our ships. And right now, they're just causing problems," Tom replied gently. "Sometimes you have to let go of the old to make room for the new." After much discussion, the Celestials agreed. Teams of workers, both human and alien, began carefully removing the damaged quantum drive parts from the remaining ships. It was difficult, dangerous work. The radiation levels meant they could only work in short shifts. "It's like a game of operation," one worker joked, carefully lifting a glowing crystal piece. "Don't touch the sides." But as they removed the old technology, something unexpected happened. The ships became easier to control with the rocket systems. Without the quantum interference, the human technology worked even better. "The power systems are running 20% more efficiently now," Anna reported, checking her readings. "It's like the ships are accepting our technology better." Blue watched the work from a control room window. "Perhaps our ships are like us," he said thoughtfully, learning to appreciate simpler solutions. The work continued around the clock. Earth kept sending more rockets, and the teams kept installing them. But now they worked smarter, not just harder. Humans and Celestials shared ideas, combining their knowledge in new ways. One young Celestial engineer discovered that their food preservation systems could help cool the rocket engines better. A human technician figured out how to use alien power cables to make the rockets fire more efficiently. Every day brought new innovations born from the two species working together. "That's the thing about humans," Captain Walker explained to the Celestial Fleet commander as they watched the work. "We're at our best when things are at their worst. Problems don't stop us. They make us more creative." The commander nodded slowly. "We are learning this. My people always thought advancement meant making things more complex, more perfect. You show us that sometimes going backwards can be going forwards." With 3 ships safely moved and 3 to go, everyone felt the pressure of time. The remaining ships' power systems were failing faster now. But instead of causing panic, this only made the teams work better together. "Ready for the next ship?" Tom asked Blue as they prepared for another launch. The alien engineer picked up a human wrench, twirling it in his long fingers. "Ready," he replied. "Though I never thought I'd say this, I'm actually excited to fire up these primitive rockets." Tom laughed. "Nothing primitive about it anymore. Not with all the improvements your people helped us add. This is something new, not purely human, not purely celestial. Something better than both." As they walked together to start work on the next ship, their footsteps echoed through corridors that had once seemed so alien and strange. Now these same corridors were filled with both species working side by side, proving that the greatest technology of all was the ability to work together and adapt. The final refugee ship moved slowly through space, its human-made rockets glowing against the darkness. Behind it, 5 other massive ships followed in formation, all powered by the same combination of human ingenuity and alien technology. Captain Walker stood at the main control panel, watching as the last ship's engines fired perfectly. All ships reporting stable power. Anna's voice came through the radio. "We're maintaining perfect formation." "Who would have thought?" Blue said, standing next to Walker. 3 months ago, we thought we were doomed. Now look at us, moving through space with rocket engines that our people once considered primitive." The rescue mission had changed both species. In the control room, humans and Celestials worked side by side, no longer separated by their technological differences. They had learned from each other, grown together, and achieved something remarkable. Final ship speed matching the fleet, Tom reported from his station. "All systems green. We're really going to make it." The journey wasn't over. It would take several more weeks to reach the Celestials' destination. But the hard part was done. All 6 ships were moving safely, their millions of passengers no longer in danger. "Message from Earth," a communications officer announced. "They want to know if we need more rockets for the rest of the journey." Walker smiled. Even now, after all they had accomplished, Earth was still ready to help. The whole planet had united for this mission, proving that humans could work together when it really mattered. "Tell them we're good," Walker replied. "The rockets are working better than we expected, especially with the improvements the Celestial engineers helped us make." Blue nodded proudly. "We learned that innovation isn't always about making things more complex. Sometimes the best solutions come from making things simpler, more reliable. As the fleet moved steadily through space, the Celestial High Council called an emergency meeting. Their faces appeared on the main screen, looking more humble than they had 3 months ago. "We have made a decision," the head counselor announced. "Earth will be declared a protected cradle of innovation. Your species has shown us that true advancement isn't about having the most advanced technology. It's about having the wisdom to use whatever tools you have in creative ways." The humans in the control room listened in surprise. This was a great honor, though few of them fully understood what it meant. The counselor continued, "We will establish a permanent alliance with Earth. Our people have much to learn from yours about adaptability, creative thinking, and the power of simple solutions. And we have much to learn from you," Walker replied diplomatically. "This mission showed that we're stronger when we work together, combining our different ways of thinking." Anna and Tom stood with Blue near one of the large windows, watching the stars streak by. The view was different now, not just endless space, but a path forward, marked by the glow of rocket engines that represented the best of both worlds. "You know what the best part is," Tom said, patting the nearest control panel. "These rockets aren't just moving the ships. They're proof that no problem is too big when people work together. Even if those people come from different worlds." Blue asked, his 4 eyes twinkling with amusement. "Especially then," Anna laughed. "Sometimes you need to see things through someone else's eyes to find the best answer." As the refugee fleet continued its journey, the story of their rescue spread throughout the galaxy. It became known not just as a tale of survival, but as a lesson about the true nature of progress. The humans had shown that advancement wasn't always about having the newest technology. Sometimes it was about having the courage to try simple solutions to complex problems. Back on Earth, rocket factories began working on new designs, combining human reliability with celestial innovations. The age of cooperation between the two species had begun, all because a stranded fleet had discovered that their rescuers weren't primitive at all. They were simply practical.